That's fair. You got me.
Oh, if it isn't, the lovely Grace?
You knew. Right from the start, you knew Calliope was there that night.
Well, yes. She asked for the key and I gave it to her, no questions asked. I told you I didn't know what happened to Calliope, and that's the truth. I did not. So I nudged you in the right direction.
So you were what? Just trying to be helpful? You still aren't telling me something.
What possible
I didn't
reason
hit
would I
romance
have
on the
to-
first
Tell
time
me
with Freddy either.
right now.
Medusa learned that Calliope was going to the reliquary.
It's weird because it
Because
kind
I
of
told
forces you into Pan first.
Now,
if
before you
just
say
hit that
anything,
button
I had
every
no
time.
idea of the fate awaiting our dear muse. And you yourself said Medusa was not responsible. I simply had to know if I'd inadvertently, rather innocently...
Sold her out? She came to you for help, and you gave her whereabouts to the
I
highest
think
bidder.
so.
I am trying to help Grace. In my way.
What do you mean, in my way? What way is that?
The way where I don't take all the blame.
What else will I discover, Pan? I'd rather learn it now than later.
I wish I could tell you, Grace. I truly do.
I'd even take Persephone. Pan's fine, but I think it's funny if you do it that way, no matter what, you're going to end up with Pan, I think. Although, I do wonder if you can, like, all of
Just
them.
as well. I've asked around, called in some favors, just enough to get an idea of what all the idols are currently up to. Much as I'm loath to admit it, I'm back to thinking Pan may be our prime suspect after all.
Why Pan? I thought you'd rejected him as a suspect.
I did. It doesn't seem like his style. Pan has always preferred scheming over direct confrontation. But the thing is, how did he know about you so quickly? What does he hope to gain by sticking his nose in?
A favor or two, I guess.
Half the idols owe him a favor or two. No, he's up to something else. Until I know what it is, I can't discount the possibility that he's involved in all this.
You might be right about Pan. I thought it could be Medusa, but now I'm not so sure.
So my sources are correct. You have been running around doing things on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe I should bring you up to date.
Oof, you've been busy. It's good work, Grace, but that business with Medusa could have gone very badly.
You're right, I should have invited you along.
I just
wouldn't
didn't
have
want
gone, I
Pan.
assure you.
Fuck
What?
Pan.
Not even to protect little old me?
Especially not for that.
At any rate, Medusa might be in the clear.
I could just make,
Pan,
I could make
however,
Grace a big
is
tease.
not.
And, like, all the way up to the last minute and
I'll
then
send
never
you to
do
a
it.
party, Grace, when Aphrodite is holding.
That's pretty funny.
She and Eros know Pan perhaps better than anyone. If you go, it'll give you a chance to find out what he's really up to.
You know Aphrodite better than I do. Can't you talk to her?
She and I don't get along.
Like how you and Apollo don't get along?
Even more intensely than that. I once said some things about her husband. They were true, but unwelcome. Suffice it to say, if I showed up at Aphrodite's party, revealing Pan's secrets would be the last thing on her mind.
Why a party? Couldn't I just go wherever she lives and ask her?
You could, but if you go to this party, she'll be grateful. She holds it from time
I
to
really
time,
like this game.
always
I'm kind of
asking for
surprised. I thought I might
everything.
get bored, but I'm, like,
I
enjoying
never
the shit
would.
out of it. I think it's
You
really,
can put
really,
two and
really
two
good.
together. A grateful
writing is
Aphrodite
fucking
might be willing
incredible.
To tell you what Pan is really up to.
One wild party with the goddess of love coming up.
It's less of a wild party and more of a somber affair.
You mean like a cocktail party?
Let me put it this way. Apollo will likely be there.
Oh, emo Apollo.
Expectations of fun downgraded considerably.
No, the musical
let
aspect
you know
of it
what I
is
find.
incredible. I think as I'm getting older, I'm starting to enjoy musicals more. Here we go. That's part of it too. It's got like most of my favorite VOs in it. Like VAs in it, yeah.
Fancy party? Check. Bunch of strangers? Check. Grace totally not dressed for the occasion? Check. Now, if only I knew what I was supposed to be doing here.
Grace? You're here.
Yeah, I'm invited, aren't I?
I'm just surprised you even knew it was happening.
Persephone said I should come to this. Whatever this is.
Persephone didn't tell you? Why am I not surprised?
I came to see you, Apollo, and I don't recall you mentioning it. Persephone said it could help.
You don't have any of Calliope's memories, right? No deja vu recollections that aren't your own?
No.
He is flustered.
Should I have?
Not right away. For a while, you won't remember anything. We call it the veil. In time, the veil will start to lift, slowly at first, but eventually you'll remember almost everything Calliope did.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem so terrible. Am I missing something?
Yeah, they
Remember
fucked.
how old we all are. There are so many memories. So the veil lifts gradually to protect you. Eventually, it's like a flood. It becomes difficult to
I
separate
mean,
what's you
I'm just
and what's
guessing.
them,
There's only so
and
many
all
of
that came
them.
before them.
They have to have all fucked each other at some point. I'll be,
I have a hard
I'll
time
be
believing I
fine.
forget who I am.
You won't stop being you. You'll just also be everyone else who isn't you.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
I understand. Take some time to let it sink in. If you like, we can talk about it later.
What does this have to do with the party?
Aphrodite hasn't been the same since we came to the New World. She has horrific memories of what she endured during the war. Passing on her Eidolon is a way to forget.
no. The thing you missed earlier was between
That's what this party is for.
Hecate and the Minotaur, and it was adorable.
Why throw a party for it? Doesn't that mean everyone's here to...
Watch her die? Yeah, I suppose so. We're also here to celebrate. We're here to help Aphrodite remember before she forgets again.
Yeah, sounds like a real banger.
This party isn't for us.
No,
Grace.
it's really long.
It's for her.
Do you support what Aphrodite is doing here?
It's not my choice to make, Grace.
Yeah, but you must have an opinion.
It's in the VOD though, and
Eventually
you can
will
like
remember
you
what
could
we experienced during the war.
kind of slide
Eventually
to it.
You will remember that what Aphrodite experienced. was
You can tell
far
basically
worse.
as soon as you get
If
as soon
this
as
is
we
the
get
mercy she
to the
requires.
tower, the reliquary.
I will not tell her she should not take it.
This isn't the first time Aphrodite's done this.
There's I just
She's
put a
held this
clip
kind of
in
gathering
of
before, right?
for
This is
I put
her
a clip up
fourth, perhaps
earlier
fifth.
of
So every time the
Pan.
veil, whatever you call it, when it starts to lift,
Aphrodite's memories return, and eventually it is too much. We gather to pay our respects and to honor the past. Well, she still remembers it.
Wait. Persephone said Calliope always refused to come to these parties.
She refused on principle. Everything Calliope did was on principle. She believed Aphrodite was indulging her sadness, wallowing in it. She thought Aphrodite should try harder. It was a point of contention between them. Aphrodite will be grateful you're here. Trust me.
I mean, I don't like the idea. I mean, I have a pretty strong stance against the idea of this, but
Okay, so
I get it.
what did Aphrodite want Calliope to do? What did she want me to do?
Well, knowing Aphrodite, she'll want you to make a production of it all. She's not here just yet. Until she arrives, I suggest mingling.
Mingling.
Yeah, mingling. Talk to Eros. Or we can talk more if you like. Just try to relax, Grace.
I'm gonna go say what's up to Eros.
Sure, yeah.
God of
Relax.
sex.
That's what this party is for, right?
Grace,
Hey, Eros. Nice to... Oh. Okay.
Aphrodite will be so happy you're here. It means so much you have no idea.
Are you okay? You seem a bit...
Every
Oh,
time
he's
she
sad,
does
man.
this, I don't know how to handle it. I almost want to run upstairs and demand she stop. Remind her that this never works. Sorry, I shouldn't unload on you. It's been a bad week.
From the sounds of it, this happens a lot.
Every 20 years or so. That's how long she can hold out until she just can't stand it anymore. Every time, Aphrodite forgets. At least for a while. But I don't. I remember everything. I'm there for the nightmares, the panic attacks, the days she doesn't even remember the war's over. And now I'm arranging her gathering again, so she can die again. And I'll watch it all again.
Is it okay if I ask what happened?
That really sucks
I don't mean
for
to
him.
pry, but I'm new. I really don't know.
I know, but it happened to Aphrodite, not me. It's not my story to tell.
If I knew what she was dealing with, I might be able to help.
Could you? I suppose it wouldn't hurt. What happened is that Brother Ares happened. He missed out on the first world-spanning war, you see, so he was damned if he'd miss out on the next one. He found some jackbooted mortals, so full of themselves and their supremacy. And he told them about the idols. Then they came for us. Took us completely by surprise. Some they killed, but Aphrodite, her they captured.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Aphrodite was captured, but she's here now. So she must have escaped.
She didn't. Do you know the name Hephaestus?
No. Should I?
God of smiths. He could make anything, any tool or weapon. He was Aphrodite's husband, and he adored her. When he found out the mortals were torturing her, he went mad. He was determined to save her.
Wait, they tortured her?
Nothing extreme, I'm told. They were too frightened, but they were also determined to wring every last secret out of her. So, who knows how long that fear would have lasted. Thus, Hephaestus made a deal.
With the, jackbooted guys.
No, Eros is Aphrodite's son.
With their enemies. That's what saved her.
Then this deal is how Aphrodite survived.
It's how we all survived. It's what brought us to the new world. Hephaestus saved us all. We never saw him again. That was the deal. He would leave, make their precious weapons, and never look back. Aphrodite never even got to say goodbye. It's funny, because Aphrodite didn't even like Hephaestus when they were married. She seemed to resent every minute they were together.
Yep.
But now... Now he's all she can think about.
Is there no other way? Does Aphrodite really need to...
To die? I've asked that so many times. She's tried magic, drugs,
It's not a big
psychotherapy,
deal.
meditation, everything we could possibly think of. For a while, she'll deny anything's wrong. It all seems fine, and I start to hope. Maybe this time will be different. Then the nightmares begin, and the memories return. More with each passing day until... I hate it, but I see her agony. I can't deny her this.
Maybe I just don't understand, but... Isn't
Trigger
this,
warning.
like, suicide?
Some of the idols have committed suicide. They let themselves die without passing on their eidolon.
What happens?
What you'd expect. They're gone. Forever. Mother says she can't do that. She won't. Not until she sees Hephaestus again, I suspect. Not that what's happening here is anything casual. She still has to die. For a while.
You sound like you don't approve of what Aphrodite's doing.
What I want is for her to not hurt anymore. What I want is for this to end. She'll ask you to use your power as part of the celebration. Could you use it to inspire her?
I will try.
I can't force anyone to do anything they don't want to, Eros.
That's not what I'm asking. I believe that deep down, she doesn't want to do this any longer. She must see it isn't working. She just needs the strength to try. Or I hope that's all she needs.
I'll try, if you think it'll do some good.
I don't know if it will. I just find it hard to believe it could get any worse.
Famous last words.
Tell me about it. Do whatever you think is right, Grace. And thank you.
You're welcome for nothing at this moment. I have to use... Talk to Sad Boy McFlipflops.
I know all these people, Grace. For as long as I can remember, I've known them. Yet sometimes I feel like I don't know any of them at all. Or they me.
You don't enjoy these family gatherings, do you?
Are they family gatherings? Like the sort mortals have?
You call each other sister and brother and mother.
Well, yes, but...
And you've been together like 100 times longer than I lived with my family. All you're missing is a drunk uncle everyone has to apologize for.
That would be Pan. But yes, I feel very much out of place.
Why is that exactly? Wouldn't you feel more like you belonged after 1,000 years together?
Is your assumption that all those centuries bring great wisdom?
Don't they?
We get older. We have more to forget. We hold grudges longer. But wiser? No. Not so far.
I spoke to Eros. He's pretty broken up over all this.
Oh, poor Eros. Each new successor, his hopes rise up once more. And then he watches the new Aphrodite crumble. Piece by piece. Only to start all over again. It's so different from the olden days. Once he was the eternal disaster, and Aphrodite kept constant vigil over him.
Maybe he feels like he owes her.
I think he's followed her into a dark void, and somewhere, deep down, believes he deserves no better.
I should get back out there.
Here we go.
My family. Having you all here, gathered once again to see me off, it moves me. More than I can say. My loves, my darlings, my dearest friends. And you. Oh, my dear sweet thing. I dare not hope that you, with all your troubles, might sing me to my sleep. Yet here you are. Yet here she is. Huh.
It's lovely to meet you, Aphrodite. Properly, this time.
Ah, yes. Poor Calliope. Such a loss to us all. I shall miss her dearly. To have come so far, only... No, it doesn't bear thinking about. It's too much.
Is this Grace, my lady? The new muse?
Oh,
It's Venus.
what manners I have. Grace, Grace, meet the lovely mortal woman who shall tonight become the new me.
Hi, my name's Venus. And yes, it really is Venus. Nice to meet you, Grace.
Hi. I have to admit, it'll be weird watching this happen the, proper way.
Because I'm chosen?
Yeah. I wasn't. Not like this, anyhow.
Yeah, Lady Aphrodite told me. I'm so sorry, that sounds awful.
There will be so much time for you lovelies to speak later. Now, we must prepare for my departure.
Are you sure we can't talk first? I really need your help, Aphrodite.
I know you do, my dear. I wish I could be there for you, but I'm afraid my time is up. But since you've shown such kindness in coming, I will ask Eros to make himself available to you afterwards. There's nothing I know that he does not. He is my son, my truest friend, my longest love.
Won't he be... a little distracted?
Probably.
Eros has been through this before, Grace. He knows what must be done.
I have to admit, it's not clear what my part in all this is supposed to be.
How could it be? You've barely just arrived, darling girl. How did you even find out about it?
That would be Persephone's doing.
Apollo! Oh, you've come after all.
You look remarkably well, cousin.
I've had a great deal of time to prepare. I assure you that would not be the case. As for you, Grace, have you gathered the true purpose of tonight's gathering?
To ease your suffering? To forget about what happened?
An escape into the soothing blackness. To swim in Lethean waters, at least for a time.
Does it help?
I don't know. Each Aphrodite before me begged for mercy. This is all I can do for all of us. Even so, tonight is not about the pain. It is about honoring the memory of
This
what
is a
was
lot.
while that memory still persists. Go, enjoy the gathering, Grace. Tell me when you're ready to begin.
Back again.
I don't think I'll have a chance to talk to Aphrodite. Not before, you know.
Not surprising. Surely Persephone must have realized that.
How? She's never been to one of these things. Anyway, I'm not sure what I'd do now.
You have two choices, Grace. Either you do as she asks and sing her to her rest,
At which point Venus won't have Aphrodite's memories yet.
or you somehow convince her to remain with us and hope she's grateful.
And doesn't regret it. Or get angry at me for ruining her party.
Do what you feel is right. It's a risk either way.
I should get back out there.
I should apologize, Grace. Saying that I was chosen like I'm somehow more special, I really didn't mean it that way. I hope you can... I'm sorry. It looks like I'll be doing that a lot. Lady Aphrodite said I'm ready, but I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Having second thoughts? If so, now's probably the time to mention it.
I would
That's
never do that to
true.
Lady Aphrodite. I'm just nervous.
That's understandable.
If I can ask, what does it feel like after it happens? Do you feel different?
I'm not sure. It happened so fast, I didn't know what to think. Calliope died, and then all this happened.
You didn't remember anything? About her? Who she was? She was just gone?
Yep.
Yeah. Isn't that the point of all this?
I just wanted to be sure. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it could be real.
How do you know Aphrodite exactly?
So I was working at this homeless shelter, right? A couple of years ago, and she came in with one of the older residents. And she was there in this, like, amazing dress. And she's sitting with this guy and really listening to him. Like, they were old friends or something. I just thought, what is someone like her doing in a place like this? So, I just went over and introduced myself.
That's it? Just like that.
Yeah. She came back to the shelter a few times, but by then, I guess she's taken an interest in me instead.
Are you really okay with all this? You know what's gonna happen, right?
I saw a lot of people in crisis at the shelter. I knew something was wrong with Lady Aphrodite. She's in so much pain, Grace. She won't let you see how much. Eros called me one night desperate. She wouldn't stop screaming. She didn't know where she was. She's a good person, Grace. A good soul. She deserves mercy.
Your name's really Venus, huh?
Everybody asks me that. Even the other idols. Maybe that's why Lady Aphrodite noticed me in the first place. She says it was fated to be. I say it's because my mama was a diehard hippie.
But don't you feel this is wrong? I mean, you're ending your life. It's like some kind of murder-suicide pact.
Ugh.
I don't think of it like that. Lady Aphrodite is not committing suicide, and I'm not being murdered.
Aren't you? Your life is ending. It's being taken over, swallowed up by Aphrodite's grief.
I'm becoming part of something bigger, something amazing. Or maybe you're right. It'll be terrible, and I'll end up in so much pain I'll regret it.
So why go through with it?
Because Lady Aphrodite needs me. Maybe, just maybe, if I'm added into the mix of all the people she's been, maybe things will be different.
It's never been different before. I don't understand why you would think that's the case. I'm going to talk to Apollo one last time, and then we're going to do it.
Back again.
Have you spoken with Venus? She seems really...
Nice, earnest, a genuinely good person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's not an accident. Ever since the war, Aphrodite has sought out the kindest, the most innocent souls to be her successors. She chooses them because she believes that over time, it might make her a better person. A more worthy person.
Wouldn't it be better if she chose people who were, I don't know, more resilient?
I suppose that depends on your definition of strength, Grace.
I should get back out there.
Here we go.
I have tried so hard, fought for so long, but in the end, I must bid you all farewell once again. But before I go, I would like us all to remember the sacrifices that brought us here. to this strange new world. This time, it is with the help of our lovely muse that we shall be guided. We let them rise. We let it happen. We waited far too long. We thought we shouldn't intervene. We were wrong. We were wrong. Since the beginning we were hidden. We held court from up above. 'Twas the golden age of reason, and I the queen of love.
Okay.
But a plague of hate was spreading, and there were vultures standing by. Before we fell to our knees begging, we fell from the sky. We let them rise, we let it happen. We waited far too long. We thought we shouldn't intervene. We were wrong. We were wrong. We had revelry and rebirth, a family all together, till 13 million marching men cut us down forever. But Brother Ares made it happen, joined their war without dispute. Now the once mighty immortals are just mud under a boot. We let them take our loved ones, it's what they wanted all along. We thought they were beneath us, we were wrong, we were wrong. I see you have the power, it's a poisonous reward. My virtues only scorned me when I was once adored. Loved by every mortal, then ripped from paradise. No one suffered greater till he made his sacrifice. The man that I ignored saved me when I fell. Yes, the husband I abhorred rescued me from hell. I thought it was a joke when it was said to me. He struck a deal with our enemy's enemy, made a secret weapon so my captors let me go. He gave up his freedom, leaving just a memory, and this love I'll never know is what he gave to me.
I gotta say that I'm amazed I held my tongue for so long. Not such a fan of this old plan, but who's to say that you're wrong? Now shoulda gotta erase a memory when there's no chance of changing history. This guy that sacrificed his life so you can live in his place. Wish he'd drop by, cause man, I'd die to see the look on his face. You try to hide from your reality, but then come back with regularity. And if you notice a disparity, then what's the meaning of his legacy? Who gives a damn about your suffering? Who wants to see you be yourself again? Who feels your pain in case you're wondering? You got the time, but it's the stuttering. Everybody wants to see you fall in love.
A good song. Interesting.
What we do now that morons moralize, they beat through their mouths, how could they sympathize? Please, just shut it, or rain down from above, hate flooded into the drains. I feel nothing of love, only the fear of the chains. Over long forgotten stains, it's not my blood inside these veins, only human remains. forth. Everybody knows my pain is insurmountable. Everybody fights your attitude detestable. Everybody wants to hold themselves accountable. Everybody have you something more suggestible.
Everybody wants to see you fall in love. I never thought you'd let it get this way. I've stood by watching what we've built decay. We're just pretending that the ending is near. Mother, isn't it clear? Your family's here. Everybody can see the agony you're going through. Everybody knows the goddess is inside of you. Everybody keeps repeating what they're meant to do. Everybody, I've got to stop it just to prove to you. Everybody wants to see you fall in love.
Everybody who's gonna help me overcome the war. Everybody who's gonna be there when I'm on the floor. Everybody who's gonna cry when I walk out the door. Everybody, 'cause I'm not gonna do this anymore. Everybody wants to see you, wants to see you fall in love again.
Did it work? Yes, we'll find.
Mother, is it true? You've chosen to.
Live. I have chosen to live. I'm so sorry, Venus. I made you so many promises, dearest, and I won't be able to keep them.
My lady, all I ever wanted was for you to be happy. If this is your wish, I'll be with you at every step.
I as well. Always.
I hope none of us regret this choice in the days to come. But thank you.
I mean, can't you just like do it again if you regret it?
I really don't want to press, but you had said before that we could talk afterwards.
I don't think this is the time to talk.
It's fine, my love. I owe Grace so much, and her need is great. No doubt regarding Calliope's death. Have you any suspicions as to who might be responsible?
Calliope was at the reliquary when she was attacked, but I only know of 3 people who were there.
And you're sure none of them are responsible, Grace?
I thought maybe Medusa, but I've spoken to her, and I think it's someone else.
Calliope came to see us that night. She was agitated, frightened even, but she wouldn't explain why.
She said she had a plan. It must have been the reliquary.
Mm-hmm.
She was frightened, so she knew this was gonna happen. It wasn't a surprise.
It was clear she was involved in something. I just thought it was one of her schemes.
If only we'd known she intended to go to the reliquary. How on earth did she even get in?
She used the key, the one Pan gave her. When Calliope arrived, she dropped it. Then she laughed and said she'd better not lose it because Pan won't give me another key to the reliquary. I didn't know it was important.
Well, there's your help, Grace. I can't give you any better.
Come now, Mother. It's time you rested. It's been a long night.
I feel like none of this is getting me any closer.
If I don't, I suppose you'll both gang up on me again. Very well.
This was Apollo, wasn't it?
So, did they have anything helpful?
Nope.
It just doesn't make sense. Pan sent me to the reliquary. If he's involved, why would he do that?
Well, maybe he was hoping you could prove his innocence if you found out what happened there.
I guess. Aren't you the one who first said he was probably guilty?
Worth investigating still. Are you all right, Grace? You seem troubled.
I'm worried. I don't feel like I'm any closer to the truth.
Aren't you? Even after learning about Pan?
I can't help feeling I'm on the wrong track somehow. Maybe it's just nerves.
So, I have a question.
What is
I know you're angry with Pan, but I also noticed something in how you speak of him. Am I correct in believing there's something there?
After what I just learned, I'm not sure it matters anymore.
It's none of my business, but no matter what I've said of Pan, his feelings run deep.
Oh.
Don't underestimate him, but also don't write him off. Not yet, anyhow. Give my regards to Persephone when you see her.
Okay, back to Persephone.
Apollo. Always so dramatic. Well done, by the way. You may be the very first person ever to talk sense into Aphrodite.
Why didn't you tell me what it was really all about?
The party? Or the veil lifting, and Calliope's memories eventually returning?
Yeah, either.
It's not something you can prepare for. I thought this was the best way. I remember the last time I passed on my Eidolon. 1952. I was married to, well, I'd say you'd call him a gangster. More of a thug. A mean, vicious little thug. Persephone saved me from him. Tore his head clean off. But not before he fired a shotgun into her chest. My chest? Whatever.
Do you remember who you were before?
I still am her. Chastity, that is. You can see why I switched names. I remember being disgusted I was ever that weak. Persephone made me strong. But it never really goes away. We all have our sordid history, our personal horrors, building up like sediment around our souls. You can't let it bury you, Grace. You are the only one who can keep your head afloat.
You're incredible. You know that?
There's no need to be facetious, Grace.
No, really.
And what of Pan? Is he also incredible?
What he is incredibly frustrating and nothing at all like you.
I am incredible. It's true. It's good that you recognize this.
Okay, I take it back.
Oh, you can't take it back, Grace. I would have thought you'd learned that by now. After centuries of cruel injustice, everybody working against me, every idol but for one, violent with apathy. We couldn't reach a resolution, but you and I, I'm queen of the underworld, and you praise you. Something seems familiar about you. Have we met somewhere? Gods like me don't have too much to hope for. The rules been fixed throughout the ages. So I have forged a daring path. I would like to make some changes. You see, we can win a revolution, you and I. I'm queen of the underworld, and you, Grace, you're lost, little girl. The first time we met, you called me that. And now I understand. Show it or not, I see your heart. You've got one big mouth on you, don't you? Yet it's me who's closing in. Think I like that mouth on you, won't you? You've overstayed your welcome. Time to go home. Get out of here, Grace.
What happens here if I go back here?
You've returned. I'm glad. I've had time to do some thinking. I may have been too dismissive after Aphrodite's party. You no doubt have many questions about the Eidolon and Calliope's memories.
Apollo told me a little about it. He did say I should talk to you, though.
Did he now? Is there anything you'd like to ask?
When all these memories start to return, will I feel different?
First, you'll have dreams. Places you've never been, people you've never met. But unlike with normal dreams, these will linger. Then they will come while you're awake. Sudden flashes or snippets of deja vu.
I'm looking like
Sometimes
as I
it will
go
seem
for somebody
so
to
real,
raid.
you'll swear you're hallucinating.
Oh.
If there's anything difficult about the process,
If
it's
if
that
this
it
isn't
becomes hard
game
to
isn't done in like the
differentiate
next
between your life and all
5
these other
minutes, I'll probably
lives
just
you're now
call it.
recalling.
It
Late.
does sound confusing.
Confusing and often unpleasant, as not all the memories will be fond ones. But that will pass in time.
You said it becomes hard to differentiate your life from the others. How hard, exactly? It'll still be me, right?
Oh, how do I explain this? Grace, would you say that you are who you are because of your experiences? The things you've lived and done?
I guess so, sure.
Well, all the things Calliope has done, and those before her, will now be yours. They will feel like a part of your life as well. Thus, they can't help but shape you. The Grace that is now will be and will have done so much more. Fortunately, you don't have to deal with every memory. Each time the Eidolon passes on, the oldest memories fade, and that helps.
Wait, how is it good that old memories start to fade?
Think of how old we are, Grace. If all those memories returned to you with perfect clarity, they would destroy you.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean you've all forgotten so much?
Well, far more than we remember. The further I think back, the more it becomes a bit of a blur, actually.
There.
You'll recall important moments. Some will be mixed up with the stories mortals tell, and you won't be sure which is the memory and which is the story. An idol's memory is a series of islands in a dark ocean, and they become smaller and smaller as they recede into the horizon. It sounds dire, but you become accustomed to it. It just takes time, and now you have all the time in the world.
How many times have you died? Can I ask that?
We call it passing on. I've lost track of just how many times I've passed on my Eidolon. A dozen? It's happened less often in more recent eras.
And the one you told me about, the woman married to that gangster, she was the most recent?
I don't think of Chastity as a she. That was me, just as the one my husband blasted with a shotgun was also me. It was one of the few times I wasn't able to prepare my successor. We were friends, yes, but I didn't know what Persephone was, and I had no idea what I'd just become.
That must have been difficult.
It was more difficult taking over my dead husband's territory. Women weren't often mobsters in those days.
Were you really a gangster? I've heard it said, but it sounds...
Let me put it this way. I felt as if I'd been blessed by a dying woman who saved me from a prison of my own making. I didn't know what I was, but I was free. I felt more alive than I'd ever felt before, and strong enough to toss an ox 10 feet. Did I set out to become a mobster? Not exactly. My husband's friends thought I'd murdered him, however, so they came after me. And one thing led to another.
Oh, I see.
Athena found me just as my memories were starting to return. I wasn't permitted to continue doing something so noticeable, so I was carted off to Olympus. It's too bad, really. I was an excellent mobster.
I believe that.
Wait, you said that Persephone passed on her Eidolon as she lay dying. What if she had just died?
The Eidolon will keep us alive for a time, even in the most horrific circumstances, in hopes that there's someone to pass it on to.
What if there isn't? What if Chastity had died before you were shot?
Well, then the line of Persephone would have ended then and there. Oh, there are some stories that say an Eidolon will go wandering, that it never really dies. And who knows if there's any truth to that. It's not exactly something we've had the opportunity to study. All we know is that many idols have left us forever. They've died, and that's how it happens.
It's a lot to consider. Assuming I'll even have time to worry about it, what with the trial coming.
Either the trial will end poorly, in which case all of this is moot,
That's
or
fair.
it will end well, and you will have plenty of time to digest.
Yeah, thanks for the update.
I'm a realist, Grace. It's what I'm best at. Now then, unless you've something else to ask.
Are you willing to talk about Hades? If you don't want to, that's fine. I'm just...
Incredibly curious how I ended up murdering my husband.
that, yeah.
You know, one might think that my hatred of Hades began when he kidnapped me and forced me to be his bride. But
Be a good
honestly,
start.
that wasn't it. I hated my brothers and sisters for letting it happen, but Hades himself terrified me. He had a presence. I mean, one that forever made him the most important man in the room. And me? Oh, I was nothing in comparison. When Hades began doting on me, trying to earn my favor, I swooned that he might deign to think of me. For centuries, I actually thought I was in love, that the kidnapping was the best thing that ever happened to me. It's funny how our perspectives change.
If you got along with Hades for so long, what changed?
I did. I grew up.
Mm.
I was a trophy for Hades. A conquest that he expected to remain meek and unchanging forever. He went out of his way to keep me small. I slowly realized that, he'd always been that way. Manipulation and arrogance behind the handsome sneer. We battled for centuries. I hated him, and I told him so, but he refused to part with me. He declared that I was his and would stay in the underworld where I belong.
Yucky.
And that's when you killed him?
That's when I killed him, yes. The first time one idol had ever murdered another. Thank you very much.
Well done.
I'm guessing the other idols weren't thrilled with you killing Hades.
Well, yeah, they didn't know what to do with me. And Athena was furious that the most powerful remaining idol had been lost. See, this was before the war and before all the new rules. The chorus had never once contemplated execution, but they certainly considered it then. In the end, they decided it was better to humiliate me. They ensured I did not benefit from Hades' murder, and stripped the throne I had wrested from his grasp.
Which you weren't happy about.
I asked them where they were all those years while I pleaded for help. I was held captive, and what was I expected to do? What, lie down and take it forever because Hades was more useful to them alive? No. I stopped doing what was expected of me the day I slit his throat. May he rot in Tartarus with the Titans for all eternity.
How did you go from ruling the underworld to opening a nightclub named after it?
I won it in a bet with Dionysus, god of merriment.
Okay, there has to be a story there.
Well, the story is that he was a fool, but a charming one with many patrons. They built him a nightclub as his personal playground. And it was a grand old time for Dionysus in the 1970s, I assure you. But he didn't know how to run a business. By the time disco was ready to die, so was his stupid club. So I offered to make it profitable. If I succeeded, he would turn ownership over to me. He accepted because, frankly, all he wanted to do was drink anyhow. I was successful. The club became mine, and I kicked Dionysus out for never paying his tab.
Sucks to be him.
Dionysus ever sobers up, he might decide to be sore about it, but so far, that hasn't happened.
Tell me more about Calliope. You and her were good friends, right?
We were.
And
if you had told me a decade ago that I would become close to one of the muses, I would have laughed in your face. I always considered them Apollo's creatures. Calliope, Clio, and Talia. Vapid, frivolous gods who handed off their eidolon to any artist who took their fancy. Every time I met one of them, they were someone else. Apollo called them the Sisters of Beauty, no matter their gender. Can you imagine that? That's such a stupid name.
I never thought of that. Do idols change gender a lot?
Well, we tend to seek out successors like ourselves, but it happens. With the muses, it happened frequently. Everywhere Apollo went, they surrounded him like a gaggle of ducklings, just like him to gather his own fans.
If you disliked the muses so much, how did you end up becoming friends with Calliope?
She sought me out. She'd become more and more unhappy on Olympus, so she decided to leave just as I had, long before. Calliope asked for my help, and I laughed in her face. Go ask one of your sycophant mortals, I told her. I mean, surely one of them has some threadbare couch you can sleep on.
Wow.
Typically, she was undeterred. She didn't just want a place to stay. She said she wanted to learn how to be truly independent from an idol who had mastered it. What can I say? I mean, I am a sucker for a well-timed compliment. I took her in. Apollo was furious. He and Calliope were barely speaking, but he was certain she'd come crawling back to Olympus. Oh, it made taking her in all the sweeter.
After you took Calliope in, that's when you became friends?
Huh. No, not right away. I wasn't looking for a friend. What I was looking for was an opening act in the club. Calliope entertained here for years, and then eventually turned from performing to attracting new acts. She was in her element. She and I, we warmed up to each other eventually. She was more capable than I expected, and I adored her furious rants.
Calliope didn't seem like the furious type when I met her. That's hard to picture.
Oh, then you didn't really meet her. She was an idealist, and nobody could ever quite live up to her standards for very long. Her brothers and sisters, least of all. The idols needed to change, she said. They were withering away in the shadows, diminished and unwilling to save their own skins. When I joined the chorus, she expected me to change everything, as if I could single-handedly override Athena. I was to be her champion, and together we would bring revolution to the idols. Well, I was yet another disappointment. She left the club, but I gave her a place to live. We were supposed to stay in touch, but you know how it went from there.
Jeez, there's a lot to
What happened to the
happen.
other muses?
A lot happened
You
here.
mentioned 2 others. Were they lost in the war?
One of them was, though not like you think. The day we were to leave on the ship, Talia simply never showed up.
Do you know what happened to her?
We never heard from her again. Apollo thrashed about in mourning, but Talia had been fading away for years. It wasn't a surprise to the rest of us.
What about the other muse, Cleo?
Died long before. A victim at the hands of a mortal man, when she no longer possessed the power to bedazzle him. As I understand it, he kept her in a cage as a pet until her eidolon shriveled up and perished. He was dead before she was.
Ugh, that's pretty dark.
Yes, well, we come by our wariness of mortals honestly, Grace.
What's the deal between you and Apollo? The way you 2 fight.
I've told you how he and the other idols stood by and let me rot with Hades, did I not?
It seems more personal than that.
Okay, there's an old saying that no one escapes the underworld. But that's not true. I did. Once. Not long after Hades kidnapped me. I was homesick, and I missed my mother. Charon took pity on me and allowed me across the Styx. And after that, Grace, I waded through darkness itself to get out of there. Hades chased after me relentlessly, but I evaded him. Right until I
listening
got
to
the
stuff,
very slopes of
and
Olympus.
it's
And
late,
who
so
do
I'm
you
not going to
suppose
raid
was the
tonight. I'll
first
raid
idol I met?
next time.
Uh-oh.
Apollo stood there. I cried out to him, begging him not to let Hades take me, and yet Apollo did as he has always done. Absolutely nothing. Hades was thrilled, and I knew then and there I could never rely on my so-called family for anything, ever again.
I'd like to know a little more about the idols. I am one now, right?
What constitutes a little more in this instance?
Well, what are we? Where did we come from? If an idol is a soul that moves from person to person, it must have started somewhere, right?
Ah,
Okay, night.
big
I'll see you in a second.
to which the answer is, nobody knows. I remember the original Persephone only vaguely. Indeed, I'm not even certain she was the original. Was there something before her? How did she get her eidolon? I couldn't tell you. Evidently, we wrote little down in those early days, or were forbidden to, and our memories only stretch back so far. Anything beyond that simply isn't.
Psst. Isn't it strange to not know where you come from? For all you know, the idols could be aliens.
Aliens? Grace, you watch too many movies.
Gods are okay, but aliens are just wacky fiction.
Fine, yes. It is strange. No, our earliest days aren't the only blanks in our memories, however. We have many. And the last was the day Zeus called us all together to tell us Rome had fallen and we should prepare for war. But did that war occur? I couldn't tell you. The last thing I remember after Rome was 1,000 years later, in the 16th century. I was in a different body, feeling as if no time at all had passed. Athena calls that period the gap. That's what it feels like. All of us experienced it, and not one of us knows why or how.
The gap you mentioned. What was that like? Did you just wake up one day, or...
I wasn't asleep. I lived. I had lives. I passed on my eidolon. I may have known who I was and what I was, but perhaps I was completely unaware. All I know is that one day, Athena came to my nunnery, near Trieste, I think. The moment that I saw her, all the old memories came flooding back. My life during the gap was wiped away in an instant, and it never returned. If someone did that to us, they were powerful indeed.
What about Athena? I mean, she's the one who found you, right? She must have been aware.
Athena woke up on her own, or so she claims, and spent the next century rounding up those idols who remained. Zeus, however, was gone. What became of him, what happened in Rome, we've never pieced it together. It's troubling.
Tell me more about the war. It seems to have had a huge effect on all of you.
That's putting it mildly.
From Aphrodite's song, I know Ares betrayed everyone. What did you do?
Honestly, after my mother was murdered, I barely remember.
Your mother?
Her name was Demeter. Not truly my mother, but an idol who had always cared for me since the early days. I thought we'd be together forever. Then Ares brought those filthy bastards down on us. Demeter was slain by bullets. By bullets. Until that day, I had believed we were untouchable.
Why would Ares do that? Did he get anything out of it in the end, or...?
What he got was a final death. A few of us hunted him down and made sure he paid for his betrayal. He choked on his own blood. As for why he did it, who knows?
It's pretty wild.
He thought us a lost cause. He wanted glory. He wanted more than we had, living in secret. After that, I don't know. We went from hiding place to hiding place. I didn't even know what Hephaestus had done for us when I found myself on a boat. We might have been gods once, but after the war, we were just refugees, like so many others, fleeing to a distant land.
Was it hard for the idols to come to the New World?
Oh
It's just
my
a place
jeez.
like any other, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't the place that was hard, it was the fear. We knew we were vulnerable. We knew mortals could and would kill us. Suddenly, there were rules. We had to be secret. We had to stay close together. We huddled in the shadows and quaked each time the mortals so much as breathed in our direction. We couldn't all live that way. Some of us drifted away, faded into the night without so much as an explanation. That's what's been the hard part. Our inevitable decline in a place where we don't belong. We can pass on our eidolons as often as we like, but it will never truly be home.
That's all I can think of for now. I'll see you around?
Oh yes, that's where I'll be. Around.
This is a terrible idea, but I guess just to make sure.
Back again, Grace? People will talk.
About what? It seemed like you...
Wanted to keep our relationship on a business level. Yes, I help you, you help me.
Yeah, that. Though I don't know what you could need my help with.
Oh, I'm sure I'll figure something out in time. Now then, unless you've something else to ask?
No, not really. I'll see you later, Persephone.
Okay. I mean, this is a terrible idea.
Hi, Grace. I can just call you Grace, right?
That's my name. Where's Freddie?
She went out to get snacks. We were gonna watch TV while we waited, but, well, here you are.
Waited. Were you looking for me?
All over, yeah. Athena sent me to find you, but it wasn't easy. Yeah, you must have been busy.
Yeah, because I stand trial soon.
Right. Right, that makes sense. Anyway, I guess Athena wants to talk? I can zip us over to Olympus anytime, if you're free.
So this is what you do? Ferry people around?
I'm the god of messengers, baby. Travelers, doorways, any kind of transition, really. The old Hermes said that the transition part made even more sense for me, which, you know, extra cool, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I can connect any two doorways anywhere, just like that. So it's super easy to take people wherever. I don't mind.
Okay.
You say it's easy, but do you like doing all these errands?
Huh. Yeah, I never thought about it. It's nice to have a purpose. Athena is super sweet, and she has a big, important job. Why wouldn't I want to help her out?
You can't be this nice. Are you for real?
Oh, well, the old Hermes used to say that a willingness to serve is more important than a willingness to be served.
You mentioned the old Hermes a lot. You knew him?
Yeah, I was homeless for a while. It wasn't a great time, and he took me in. Everyone's on the same journey, he used to say. Only the roads are different. And then he went on his journey. Man, I still miss him every day.
Wait, isn't he still inside you? Aren't you kind of the same person now?
Not yet. It's only been a year. Maybe I'll feel him again one day. That'd be nice.
Do I have a choice about seeing Athena? I'm not in the habit of being at anyone's beck and call.
I mean, I guess you could say no, but I wouldn't. If Athena wants something, she's gonna get it eventually. She had that look in her eyes, like she really wants to talk to you.
She could always come here. Everyone else does.
Athena entered the mortal world? And now she doesn't do that ever. Can you imagine?
How does Athena manage never entering the mortal world?
She doesn't have to, I guess. Everyone brings her everything she needs. And that creepy owl of hers? Apollo says it's her eyes out in the world. It's everywhere. Watching.
So what, she just never leaves the building?
She'll go to the reliquary and places like that. Just never where mortals are. She wears a toga and calls cars iron horses.
I suppose there's no point in putting it off. Do your thing. Take me to Olympus.
Okay. Oh, when you see Freddie, tell her I'm sorry I couldn't stick around for the movie. And mind if I say something?
Sure.
You've changed. I mean, from the person I met when I first came here. When, you know, you got it together really quick.
Thanks, I guess.
Is there like a cut point right here? Okay. Oh, I have a second trait now. I like clever here. Okay.
There you are, Grace. Do have a seat.